Hello and welcome back to the Content Bite. We are a podcast for freelancers who use their words to make money. I'm Rachel Smith, founder of the jobs board and freelance community Rachel's List. And I'm also a freelancer myself, a journalist, copywriter and content producer. And I will let my lovely co-host Lynne Testoni introduce herself. Good morning, Lynne.
Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
I suppose we shouldn't say good morning in case people are listening to this at like 3 a.m. or 10 at night. But
or
anyway,
whenever they fit it in their multiple deadlines.
Yes, it's morning where we are. So,
So I'm Lynne Testoni and I'm also a freelance writer, content creator and journalist. And I don't know about you, Rachel, but I am really busy at the moment. It seems that everyone's gone back into the office and restarted work with a bang. Oh, my goodness. So many clients, so many deadlines. How about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. And I've also noticed with the Rachel's List jobs board, it's just jumping at the moment. So I think there is this kind of hubbub going on, you know, everybody's getting back
to work
into
everywhere.
It. Yeah. So it's probably a really good time for us to do this episode, which is basically about how you manage different priorities and deadlines, because that can be really tricky. And I think that everybody has a really different way of being efficient around that, I suppose. What does a typical week look like for you, Lynne?
Well, this week I finished about 10 pieces of content, which sounds a lot. A few of them are quite small. I do a lot of real estate listings, and so not all of them are big projects, but those ones often have a really tight turnaround, which brings its own set of stresses. So that tends to make me feel a bit rushed and stressed. So how do you cope with being rushed and stressed and lots of things?
Good question. I reckon I was thinking about this when we were trying to decide to do the episode, and I tried to think of what a really busy week would look like. And I think it's probably about 6 things due in a week. And that might be a mixture of content marketing work or blog posts. It might be a magazine feature. But then on top of all that, I'll have stuff for Rachel's List and I'll have the wrap-up newsletter on a Friday night. So I kind of have to shoehorn in a lot of different things, and I am
We've
juggling.
also got this podcast.
And the podcast as well. So we kind of are juggling a lot of different things, and we have to make sure there's time in the schedule for everything. So, yeah, I mean, I do sort of have these strategies and a bit of a system to fitting all the puzzle pieces together, I suppose.
Yeah, will you share your system and then I'll share mine?
Okay, so I basically, for all my paid work, which is the content marketing, journalism features and things like that, I will work about 2 weeks in advance and I'll look at the briefs and see what needs to happen with those briefs. So do they need interviews? Is there some really complex research I need to do? Do I need to find stats, which takes time? Do I need to look at white papers and distill them down to get stuff out of them, all that sort of stuff. I'll try and do that a little bit ahead of time. And then I'll batch similar tasks. So if I have lots of interviews that need to be done that month and then everything's due at the end of the month, I'll try and do all the interviews on one day and then spend another day doing all the transcripts. And, so I have everything sort of at my fingertips before I start writing. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a big fan of batching.
I do love a batching session, yes.
Maybe you've got better concentration than I have. I'm a bit, I do what I call salami tactics, a slice at a time. So because I do lots of little bits at the time, and I find batching I find a bit overwhelming. So because I approach it quite differently. So if I get overwhelmed with multiple deadlines, I usually just stop and I breathe and I pick one project and concentrate on that. So it's finished and off my to-do list. So I usually try and work out priorities. Sometimes like with all these real estate things that I had, and I also had 2 pieces of content marketing and a magazine feature as well this week. So I did a couple of the real estate things because you just do them and then they're done and then they're urgent. And I start getting emails from the client if they're not done. So that removes stress for me. And then I started working on one of the content marketing pieces and just got that done. And once I feel like instead of having 10 things due, I've got 7, and then I have 6, I start to feel like I'm more in control, and that completing something helps to calm me and get back my focus. And I don't seem to do multitasking very well. So I do like to do one thing at a time.
Yeah, I'll do something similar. Like when I get to the writing stage, I'll set timers and force myself to do a first draft in like 2 Pomodoro sessions. And then I leave it hopefully for a day or 2, and then I can come back, tidy it all up, and send the quotes off to be checked if they need to be by the case studies or the experts, and then I send it off. But a little tip actually that you taught me.
Go back for a second. The Pomodoro, maybe not everybody knows that. I know what you mean, but I'll explain what a Pomodoro is.
Oh, okay. So Pomodoro is a tactic. I think it's 25 minutes, the traditional Pomodoro. And you can get all kinds of timers online that are a Pomodoro timer, usually have a big tomato on them because of the the name. But you can set the timer and it will just tick over for 25 minutes, and then you have a break and you do it, But I was also doing Ed Gandia's thing, which was in an hour you do 2 20-minute sessions and then a 10-minute break. And he said that really worked for him, and he would do 2-hour sprints like that, which is similar to what I do as well when I'm on a writing day. But I was just going to say that you gave me a bit of a tip that I've used quite a bit, and that's write the skeleton of something, so you feel like there's actually been a start made on something psychologically.
Back to my salami tactics.
that actually is a big part of my system. So what I will do, even though I might not be doing the writing for something until 2 weeks' time, I will write the framework. So a lot of the work that I do, the client will give you a specific template, and you need to do an H1, a title tag, all the metadata. You might need to write the social and all that sort of stuff. And I can do all those smaller bits really quickly. And I find that if I've done that and the template's ready to go for the writing part, I feel very calm as well. And like I can then go and
like
pick
it's
that
under
up.
control.
It's under control. It's halfway there, and I feel good about it. But like I said, I'll never start the writing until I have everything at my fingertips. And also I'll have the marked up transcript. I do big arrows and I highlight it, and I put quote, I put asterisks and stuff where the key quotes are, so they're really easy to pull out as I go.
So I tend to do it all at once. Sorry. I break. Yeah, so I tend to do the outline as I say, because I hate starting with a blank page. And usually when I do the outline, which I do well before deadline, I tend to find out all the things that you may not notice on first reading. Oh, they want you to do a breakout on this subject, or this needs to have this sort of expert, or you need 3 experts or something, and they're really good. So I try and do that early, because then I usually find out if there are issues that I hadn't realised. Because often when you get a brief from a client or an editor, they just send it and you read it over quickly and you go, oh yeah, I can do that, that's fine. And I come back to them straight away, which is, that's what you try and do. And then sometimes you find there's a hidden thing in there later that you didn't realise. So I do try and scope it out. And sometimes I do a bit of a run. And with my transcripts, I actually take them, I copy them straight. I don't print them out. I keep them on the computer, and I have 2 or 3 screens open at once, and tabs open at once. And then I start copying and pasting like rough quotes from my transcripts into the story, bits and pieces in different parts. And then it starts. So it's this like total mess of like bits and pieces of disconnected things, but it's all there. And then I come back later and I write it and make it turn it into English. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that came up in our interviewing episode. Don't ask me which one it was, everybody, but it was a really great episode. So you should go back and listen to
Go back and find it.
But it was definitely, the different way. I think the reason that I need to print out, although I could put them on the Remarkable, which I'll think about doing, but I think the reason I print them out and mark them up is because it puts the story together in my head and helps me kind of organize it in my head before I get it onto the page. But it's whatever works for you, I think. And
I think so too.
on that
I like
note,
having the messy online draft,
yeah,
and that seems to be how my disordered thoughts and bits start coming into a proper thing, proper story.
Oh, look, I think we work so much online, but one thing that I don't have online, which I've tried and it hasn't worked for me, is the whole diary thing. For the last 3 years, I've had a hard copy diary and I just really rely on that. Also, I think when you work on a lot of multiple projects and you've got a lot of deadlines going on, but you've still got clients coming to you and asking to give them a quote and your availability for a future project, because you've got to constantly be hustling, don't you?
Yeah.
And fitting things in. That sort of, hard copy diary helps me see what I've got coming up and where I can slot new client projects in. So I just can't do that on an online. Well, maybe I haven't found the best online diary, but I just can't do it.
Yeah, no, I use a paper diary as well. I do have my calendar, which has all my appointments and everything is online. I do have, and I also have things like some of my personal stuff, like my Pilates sessions and, lunches with friends or family things or whatever. I have them on the computer. And, but the paper diary I like, but also because I've always got it here next to my desk when I'm working. And whenever somebody asks for something to be done next week, I can open it and have a quick look. It's easy. That's actually my to-do list, the diary. And also sometimes I might make reminders. So I think one example is that on Friday I had a lot of deadlines. I had 3 deadlines and I was a bit frantic, but somebody came back with some corrections, one of my clients, and I thought she wanted me to have it. And I just said to her, I'll do it. I'll get it back to you on Monday. Basically, I wrote those corrections for that client in my Monday list. And then I forgot about it and took it off my sort of stress list. And I just knew it was covered. And I know that I don't have a lot of things on Monday because when I opened it, I could see. And then that's done. And it doesn't add to my stress and that juggling of all the projects as well. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I also put things like invoicing, like really minor things. So if I put in a story, say it's due on Wednesday, I usually invoice on the Friday, or like 2 days later I invoice, and that usually prompts them to read it. I don't know about you, they haven't. And then that means I don't ever forget to invoice for a story. So I write the invoicing, and there's one of my clients, the real estate client, I invoice at the end of the month for all the projects I've done that month. So as I finish them, I write them on the last day of the month in my diary, invoice for this, and then at the end, I don't have to go back and do all my records about how many pieces I've done. I do it in there, and that helps tidy it, and I don't get stressed when it comes to invoicing as well.
I invoice straight away, like pretty much as soon as I've, filed something and then heard this is fine or whatever, I'll then send the invoice. I know lots of people send the invoice with the piece, and I don't do that because I just think I'd like to wait and see, what before I do that.
I've taken something from you, because you used to do that when I commissioned you, and I always liked that because so I do tend to I wait till they say it's okay, then I invoice, and if they don't, I don't hear from them. In 2 days later, I invoice, and that
that's what I do.
Usually gives them a chance to have a look at it. And if they haven't, I'm sure they think, oh God, okay, she did send me that 2 days ago, I'll have a look at it now, and it prompts them. And otherwise, if you're waiting for some people to get back, and especially repeat clients, because they know, what they want, they know what you want, they often don't have many changes or minimal, and they just think, oh yeah, that piece from Lynne is in, it's done, and then they don't think about it, and sometimes they don't get back to me to say it's fine. So I assume it's fine. And it always is.
No news is good news in the media and digital world.
Exactly. And occasionally, if it hasn't, I've had one that, totally misunderstood. It was one that I'd been passed by somebody else, and I'd never seen the original brief. And she got back to me and said, oh my God, this is nothing at all what I wanted. And I could go, okay. Oh, I didn't see that brief. Okay. And we started, and it was fine in the end. It was great.
Yes. So to recap, Lynn does the salami, the salami technique where she slices off small parts and tackles small bits. And I do the batching technique, which is grouping similar tasks into batches and doing them in one hit to sort of save time, which I happen to think that my technique is superior to Lynn's, but
I think yours too. I just don't seem to be able to do it. That's my dream, but I know I just can't do it. So I just find, okay, it's all too much. I'll just do this bit.
I think we might have to do a podcast episode that's entirely on batching. That would make my day. I love talking about batching. But anyway,
and you have your weekly list, which is
I do.
I was going to ask about that.
That's another thing that I sort of I batch. The other thing I do is I batch the Friday night newsletter for Rachel's list. So I'll collect everything as I go, and then kind of have some time where I batch and put those together. So I think it really, really saves time, but I'm not going to push it because I know that you like your technique. But yeah, my weekly to-do list is a Sunday thing. Yeah, I have to do that on a Sunday. Otherwise I get to Monday and I'm in absolute flat spin thinking, what am I doing? What's due? Oh my God. And then I'm taking an hour trying to put that to-do list together. So it has to be ready to go, stuck to the front of my diary. Sunday
and the
night.
other thing I do that I like, so occasionally I work late, not that often. I'm more of an early morning person. So I often, if I do, I get everything ready for the clients and everything, and I minimize them. I get the emails done, I minimize them, and I send them first thing, like when I'm up, like 7:30, 8 a.m. After my run or whatever, and then I send them. And usually I think that's makes you look efficient, but also in the morning I give everything a clean read and I pick up lots of little fiddly bits and pieces that tidy it up. And that first 2 hours in the morning between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. is it's my batching time. That's when I'm freshest and I get heaps done.
Yeah.
I find it harder later as the day goes on, and that's I revert more to the salami tactics. I don't have the headspace to write a whole story, but hey, I'll do this and I'll get the transcript and pull out the relevant bits, and that'll do. Yeah.
The one thing before we go that I want to say that I will do is, if I have a massive week coming up with lots of multiple things and I know I'll be juggling lots of things, I'll take Sunday afternoon and just go off to a library and do some preparation, send emails, set up interviews, do whatever I need to do, maybe start writing things, write those, initial bits in the templates, just so I feel that everything is ready and I'm in a position to meet my deadlines. Yes. But so anyway, look, I think we've given lots of ideas. I hope that you guys have all enjoyed listening to how we do the mad juggle when there's lots of deadlines on the table, and we would love to hear how you do it too, if you do things differently. So don't forget to drop a comment on our Facebook page or our Instagram, or send us an email to thecontentbite@gmail.com. I've got that right, haven't I?
You have.
And we will see you next week with a fresh new episode.
Yep. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.